Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. I think we need to rewrite the meaning of the word ring fencing into the dictionary. From now on, it should mean lost and or stolen. Mary Gudgeon, the Rural Affairs Secretary, says she doesn't know where all the money has gone, despite it being ring-fenced. Oh dear. What is it about the SNP and ring-fenced money turning up missing? Who knows? Let's have a look with this article and see what's going on and see what Mary Gudgeon has to say about it. And I doubt it'll be of anything sensible. Here goes. So SNP in new missing money furore as Minister cannot say where the £33 million of ring-fenced cash actually went. The Scottish Government's Rural Affairs Secretary, Mary Gudgeon, could not explain where £33 million of ring-fenced cash for the farmers had ended up after being cut in John Swinney's emergency budget last year. Miss Gudgeon, who, as the Rural Affairs brief in Humza Yousaf's cabinet, was involved in a tetchy exchange at Holyrood on Wednesday regarding £33 million of ring-fenced cash, which was meant to support farmers. And you can guarantee it definitely won't have gone to the farming community. That's very low on their list of priorities. But it's far more important that they feather their own nest, I suspect. This was deferred from the agricultural budget during the government's emergency budget review in 2022, with the then Finance Secretary John Swinney promising the cash would be returned in future years. Well, you know what SNP promises are like. You know, promises are like pie crusts. They're made to be broken. As far as the SNP is concerned, that's certainly true. The National Farmers Union in Scotland has repeatedly written to ministers to ask them to repay the cash into the 24-25 budget so that it can be invested in Scotland's rural priorities. But the SNP don't care about the countryside. All they care about is the big cities where they can get their voters to vote for them. Because obviously the rural communities tend to not to vote, particularly SNP. Simply, but now, I mean, it's going to get even worse, of course, but simply because the SNP don't care about the rural communities. But when asked about it at Holyrood, Miss Gudgeon could not tell MSPs where the money had been spent, and instead insisting that it had been used as a saving. Bless. Well, if you're saving that money, you must still have that money. Otherwise, you've spent that money, and if you spent it, it's not a saving, is it? As I tell my wife. I saved £10 on this. How much did it cost? £100. So you didn't save £10, you spent £100, But I love her dearly. And dear is the right word. Anyway, there was no guarantee or timeline given for when that money would be handed back to the farming sector. Well, of course not, because they've had it, they've used it, they've spent it on something else. They don't have it. They cannot repay what they don't have. She said, without a definitive timeline yet, but I will, of course, be continuing discussions with the Deputy First Minister as to when that would be returned to the portfolio. Basically, they've had it, they've nicked it, they've spent it. You're never going to see that money again, so you better get used to it. The farming community in Scotland is not something that the SNP cares about, which is ironic considering that Scottish meat, like beef and lamb, is one of the biggest exports the country has. You'd think they'd take more care of it. But then this is the same government that wants to destroy the oil industry. Anyway, he says, I want to be absolutely clear as well that the money was ring-fenced. Well, you'll be able to point to it then, won't you? It has come back to the portfolio. It can't be spent in other areas. They lied. So it will be returned to the portfolio, but it is details on the timeline that are still to be determined. What's all this portfolio you're talking about? It's the farmers' money. You've got the farmers' money. Give it to them. They need it. She was pressed by the Scottish Tories Rural Affairs spokesman Rachel Hamilton about where the money actually is, and if it hasn't been used, why can't it just come back and be returned to the farmers now? George Burgess, the Director of Agriculture and Rural Economy, responded by saying that the money being removed allowed the government to reduce spending and achieve a balanced budget. He added this meant that the money is not sitting in a bank account somewhere. No, you've spent it. He claimed it would be handed back due to the commitment from Mr Swinney in the future. Yeah, but you won't define that future, will you? Scottish Tory MSP Finlay Carson hit back by asking how can it still be ring-fenced if it's already been taken out of the budget and utilised elsewhere. He said it was taken out of the agricultural budget and spent on something else. The 33 million was taken out of a budget to be spent on something else other than the agricultural budget. Ms Gudgeon responded by saying it was offered as a saving, so it wasn't spent in another area. Oh, good. You'll be able to hand it straight back then. You've got that 33 million now then. If you haven't spent it in another area, it's sitting in the bank. Just give it to them. Off you go. Otherwise, it may look as though, firstly, you're lying, and secondly, you don't know what you're talking about. Or, thirdly, both. Speaking afterwards, Ms Hamilton said it's no wonder the police were called in to find the SNP's ring-fenced referendum fund. They removed all the money from a supposedly ring-fenced rural budget. The SNP make it up as they go along. Farmer and author Jamie Blackett added, wow, £33 million from the ag budget, now not there to support Scottish farmers and no timescale for replacing. No wonder there's a gaping hole where the policy should be. Can't it be resourced? No, it can't, because the SNP haven't got a clue on how to run an economy. They haven't got a clue about money. They've got no clue about anything whatsoever. And Mary Gudgeon, she'd be ashamed of herself, being unable to answer the question about where the £33 million ring-fenced money is. She's the one who claims it isn't, it's a saving. If you've saved it, you've put it in the bank. Point to it, take it out and hand it to the farmers. It is their money. Ain't going to happen, is it? Anyway, I shall round off there and come up. Is anyone surprised? I mean, really, is anyone at all surprised that the SNP have got another set of ring-fenced money turn up missing? They cannot help themselves. They make bold claims about, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Don't worry, it's only a temporary thing. We've got this money, we're going to put it over here. We just can't afford, we just need to balance the book this year. Boo, 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 boo. Quick, spend it on, invent another thing to spend it on. I wouldn't be surprised if some of that has gone into the back pocket fund. It seems to be a lot of that happening these days, and the corruption is very strong in this party. So it wouldn't surprise me if it's turned into retirement funds for senior members of the SNP. Anyway, I mean, there's a lot of them. Anyway, I shall round off there. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you see and hear on the channel, do please hit that subscribe button, ring that bell, leave a like, leave a comment, please share the video. Definitely leave the like. That's the one that lifts us in the algorithm. And until next time, stay safe, stay well. Always know where you leave your £33 million. Don't just leave it lying around. So, you'll lose it. And goodbye.